In the vast emptiness, where light is a luxury and darkness the default, there exists a being that has burned relentlessly for over 4 billion years. No one truly knows where it began. No one can say for sure how it will end. Yet every morning, when gentle rays slip through the leaves, when the early breeze carries a quiet warmth across the earth, we are being brushed by an ancient memory of the cosmos, a whisper from the burning heart of space, the sun. The sun is not merely a glowing sphere suspended in the sky. It is a storm of nuclear fire, a machine of creation and destruction programmed since the dawn of time, where hydrogen atoms are crushed in eternal agony, fusing into helium in pulses of searing light. It has no solid surface to stand on, no boundaries to defy, no clear ending to predict. Only an ocean of plasma bowling, twisting, raging as though holding within it a secret too immense to reveal. The sunlight you see is not light from the present. It is light that began its journey hundreds of thousands of years ago, clawing its way out of the sun's core, battling through layers of convection and magnetic storms, before flying through space for over 8 minutes to finally reach your skin. When it touches you, remember it started its journey before humans even knew how to write, to read, or to dream. And so, the sun becomes the silent storyteller of the universe. But it doesn't just tell the tale, it is the tale. It is the reason Earth does not drift endlessly into oblivion. It is the source of every breath, every growing leaf, every river flowing toward the sea. It teaches life how to begin, how to flourish, and it, too, will end it. For one day, the sun will cease its quiet burning, swelling into a red giant fever devouring everything, including Earth, before collapsing into a cold, pale soul of ash, a white dwarf, alone in the dark. We owe the sun everything, but we should also fear it as we fear a god who gives blessings with one hand and destruction with the other. When it flares in fury, solar storms can rip satellites from the sky, sever global communication, shut down power grids, and plunge the world into silence. A single twitch of its magnetic heart without sound, without warning, could rewind civilization to the Stone Age. And that is just a fleeting disturbance in its slumber. So what is the sun, really? A god, a mother, a destroyer? Or simply a flicker of fire in a sky that never ends? The answer does not lie in textbooks or laboratories. It lies in how you feel when standing alone in the golden light of dusk, when you look up and realize everything beautiful you had ever known, life, color, love, time, began with that flame. And one day, when that flame fades, all that remains will be a hush of ash. The structure of the sun, layers of a burning soul. If the sun were a living being, it would have no skin, no flesh, no bones. Instead, it possesses swirling layers of matter burning, coaling, and convulsing in endless magnetic seizures, as if it were guarding an ancient fury too immense to release. Each layer is a doorway, opening to a different realm where temperature, pressure, light, and even time obey no laws known to humankind. It is a body that neither sleeps nor breathes, yet lives with a violence so profound that all other life forms appear as quiet side effects. At its core lies a hidden heart of black brightness where it all begins. Here, the pressure is 250 billion times the Earth's atmosphere, and the temperature soars to a mind-breaking 15 million degrees Celsius. There are no flames as we know them, no crackling fire, only the unbearable compression of hydrogen atoms. These tiny particles are crushed to the point of identity loss, fusing into helium in a perpetual explosion repeated trillions upon trillions of times each second. There is no light here, the density is too great. And yet, paradoxically, light is born in total darkness. From the core, energy cannot simply escape. It is imprisoned in the next layer, the radiative zone. Here, light does not travel like a beam, but stumbles and collides with matter trapped in a cosmic hall of mirrors. A single photon can spend hundreds of thousands of years trying to break free, bouncing in chaos like a lost soul wandering a labyrinth of heat. Above that lies the convective zone, an entirely different kingdom. Here, plasma churns and boils, rising and falling in massive currents like lava with a will. Energy is no longer passed quietly through light, but through violent physical motion. Towering waves of molten fire surge upward, each one hundreds of Earths tall, before collapsing inward again. From afar, the sun seems to be breathing calmly, almost peacefully. But it is the breath of something that has never known peace. Above that is what we foolishly call the surface of the sun, the photosphere. But in truth, there is no surface. The photosphere is merely the edge where light finally escapes into the universe, like a prisoner slipping through a crack. It gleams like a golden sea, but it is only the illusion of calm, a veil drawn over the chaos below. And beyond the veil lies the chromosphere, a thin crimson border only visible during a total eclipse. It is the lip of a cosmic volcano, glowing hotter than the surface beneath it, where magnetic rifts spew gas in jagged eruptions. Light here is unstable, trembling, flashing, screaming into the void. But it does not end there, for the sun has a second soul, the corona. This is the layer that defies all logic, baffling even the sharpest scientific minds. Why is it hundreds of times hotter than the surface? How can something further from the core burn brighter? The temperature here reaches 1 to 5 million degrees Celsius, while the surface beneath simmers at just 6,000. It is as though the sun wears an invisible crown of fire, untouchable, unexplainable, a shimmering halo that incinerates anything daring enough to draw near. From the corona, solar wind escapes a breath of the sun itself, carrying plasma fragments throughout the solar system. Sometimes, it crashes into Earth, painting the polar skies with silent, dancing auroras, terrifyingly beautiful warnings that we live beneath the breath of a god. And so, the sun's structure is not merely a stack of layers like a cosmic cake. It is a sequence of ancient emotions, burning like a dream, yet capable of turning nightmare in an instant. Each layer does not only carry heat, it carries memory, a whisper from the past, a hidden truth about the future, and a single, inescapable message: even eternal fire has an ending. Astonishing physical characteristics, numbers not to calculate, but to fear. Some numbers aren't meant to be measured, they're meant to leave us speechless. Some proportions aren't for equations, but for awe. When we speak of the sun, we are no longer the rulers of Earth. Standing with rulers and formulas, we become small beings looking up at a titanic presence, trying to grasp the ungraspable, explain what was never meant to be explained. Let us begin with the most obvious. Size. The sun spans over 1.39 million kilometers in diameter, more than 109 times the size of Earth. If it were hollow, it could fit over 1.3 million Earths inside its burning shell and still have room to spare. Yet the sun is far from hollow, it is densely packed, a colossus containing 99.86% of the entire mass of the solar system. Every planet, asteroid, and comet you've ever heard of combined are nothing more than the dust left behind when the sun was born. The sun is massive, it is vast, but it is also unimaginably hot. At its core, the temperature reaches 15 million degrees Celsius, hot enough to tear apart atomic nuclei, hot enough to melt the very idea of matter. And ironically, it is this unbearable heat that makes life possible, allowing hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe, to fuse into helium through a chain reaction of nuclear fusion, releasing the light that nourishes Earth. Even more astonishing, the sun spins, but not like Earth. Being a ball of plasma, its equator spins faster than its poles, about 25 days at the equator, and 35 days near the poles. This difference twists the sun's magnetic fields like tangled wires, creating monstrous loops of energy that bowl to the surface and erupt, sometimes violently hurling billions of tons of plasma into space. And light, you may think it's simple. Sunlight takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach Earth. That's true, but only the final leg. Before that, the light that warms your face took between 100,000 and 1 million years to escape the sun's core, trapped, scattered, slowed within the dense, raging plasma like a soul condemned to wander its birthplace. When it finally emerges, it is not just light, it is a survivor, a warrior that has battled millennia of darkness to touch your skin. Then there's gravity. The sun's gravitational pull is so intense that if Earth drifted just a little off its path, it would be sucked in, vaporized midair, like a raindrop falling into boiling oil. And yet, this same invisible force orchestrates a dance so precise that every planet, from distant Neptune to little Mercury, follows its steps like partners in an eternal waltz, choreographed not by music, but by attraction. The sun never sleeps, it never pauses. Every second, it releases energy equivalent to millions of nuclear bombs, yet it delivers it gently, steadily, so that we may live, love, breathe, and dream. And perhaps the most humbling thing about the sun is not its power but the serenity with which it wields that power. No roar, no demand, no announcement, it just burns, as if it must. As if it was born not to shine but to count down, not in numbers but in flame. We call it physics, but sometimes it feels more like a miracle waiting to be understood. The sun's role in Earth's life, the breath that awakened the world. If life is a symphony, then the sun is its first violin, the one that drew the opening notes from silence. It is not just light, not just warmth, it is the one who woke life from the slumber of the cosmos, the very breath that stirred the stillness of a barren world. Once, Earth was nothing more than a cold stone adrift in the dark, no green, no water, no sound. Then the sun appeared, like a cosmic flame, casting its first rays upon the silent surface. That light, brief though it may have seemed, was enough to melt the ice, form an atmosphere, open the path for rivers to flow, for roots to dig, for life to bloom. And so, in one fleeting moment between two eternal voids, something miraculous happened. Life began. From every blade of grass, every beating heart, every trickling stream, all draw their existence from the sun, as if it were a distant command from a realm where time has no name. Each morning, as the sky shifts from gray to gold, it is not merely a new day rising, it is a reassurance. The sun still shines, and life still goes on. The sun is the silent mother we never touch. It does not intervene, it does not command. And yet, all life orbits it, both in physics and in spirit. Because of it, plants perform photosynthesis, creating oxygen. Because of it, oceans evaporate into clouds, returning as rain. Because of it, ice thaws, rivers surge, soul softens. Without the sun, Earth would become a frozen grave in the Milky Way, ruled by death in an eternal hush. But the sun's role reaches further than biology. It governs the inner clock of all beings. The human heartbeat, sleep patterns, the breeding of animals, the rhythm of harvests, everything bends to the light and shadow the sun paints across the sky. Trees know when to bloom, birds know when to fly north. Humans know when to rise and when to rest, because the sun not only lights space, it lights the mind. And stranger still, its light heals. A child steps outside after the rain, arms outstretched toward the light, and suddenly, laughter returns. An old man warms himself in the morning sun, eyes closed, whispering silently to something older than memory. This light does not merely warm the body, it soothes the soul, as if whispering, "You're still alive, I am still here." But like all ancient gods, the sun has two faces. When it grows angry, solar storms can rip through Earth's magnetic field, knocking out power grids, disrupting radio waves, even threatening the digital spine of our civilization. One strong eruption aimed at Earth could turn an ordinary day into the edge of apocalypse. So the sun is not just a savior, it is also the one who holds the key to our end. We live in its light, but we could vanish in the blink of its eye. And yet, today, when you step outside, when you look up, you will still see this truth. The sun still shines just as it always has, as it does now, and as if it always will. No promises, no words, just the quiet presence of something that gave birth to life and now calmly counts down toward its death in the form of gentle morning light. Notable solar phenomena, the wrath of a silent god. We often speak of the sun as a symbol of warmth, light, and eternal calm shining gently upon the earth, But it is a great mistake to believe that a being older than time itself, one that generates the energy of millions of nuclear bombs every second, could be harmless. No, the sun is not gentle. It is simply calm, and nothing is more dangerous than a silence that lasts too long. Beneath the soft gold of every sunrise, terrifying events unfold like the subtle spasms of a cosmic heart riddled with magnetic madness. There are days when strange scars appear across the sun's surface, sunspots. These are dark patches, not because they are cold, but because the magnetic fields there are so twisted and dense that light itself cannot escape. They are almost silent signs that energy is building beneath the surface, like storm clouds gathering along the horizon, waiting to explode. And when that energy erupts, it becomes what we call a solar flare. A sudden flash of brilliance rips across the plasma, a blade of fire slicing through the void. Within minutes, it releases the energy of billions of atomic bombs, hurling X-rays and radio waves into space at near light speed, powerful enough to disrupt satellites, sever communications, scramble GPS, and threaten entire electrical infrastructures. But sometimes, the sun doesn't just flash, it throws pieces of itself into space. This is the coronal mass ejection, CME, an immense, furious outburst where billions of tons of charged plasma are blasted from the sun's surface, hurtling across the solar system at millions of kilometers per hour. If we're lucky, they miss us. Though when one aims directly at Earth, we wait with bated breath, knowing that all our technology could be reduced to silence in the face of this cosmic tempest. And in both destruction and wonder, another phenomenon emerges, one of haunting beauty: auroras. When solar particles slam into Earth's magnetic field, they are drawn toward the poles, colliding with atmospheric gases and igniting the sky in surreal colors. Green, violet, red, dancing across the stars like a silent warning etched in light, reminding us that we are constantly under the influence of forces far beyond our control. Then comes a mystery yet to be solved: coronal holes. These are vast, dark regions on the sun where magnetic fields open and release high-speed solar wind. We don't yet understand why they form, nor what role they play in the life or death of the sun. But one thing is certain: they are not wounds, they are the breath of a titan holding the entire solar system in the stillness of a blink. These phenomena may seem random, but in truth, they are the heartbeat of a god. And every time we observe, recur, and study them, we are listening to the sun's body speak, silent, furious, beautiful beyond words. The mysteries of the sun. When a star knows how to keep secrets. We've measured the sun in units, in degrees, in light years. We've sent telescopes to orbit, built observatories in space, recorded every flare, every subtle disturbance. And yet the closer we get, the deeper we look, the more we find ourselves stepping back. Because some things about this star simply do not obey the rules we thought the universe had written. Perhaps the sun is not just a ball of fire. Perhaps it is a riddle wrapped in light. The first and oldest mystery remains unanswered. Why is the sun's outermost layer, the corona, hundreds of times hotter than its surface? The surface simmers at around 60 degrees Celsius, but the corona blazes at 1 to 5 million degrees. This defies every law of thermodynamics. Imagine standing next to a burning stove, only to find the air kilometers away is hotter than the flame itself. Physics calls it a paradox, but maybe, just maybe, it's a hole in our understanding. Scientists speak of alpha waves, magnetic reconnection. But what if the truth lies beyond language, beyond theory? The second question is more haunting. Could the sun be conscious, not in the way humans are? But could it be a living entity, one that pulses, breathes, reacts, and changes with rhythm? The sun follows an 11-year magnetic cycle. It flares, then rests, it breathes fire, then exhales silence. In that strange regularity, there's something that resembles a heartbeat, a solar breath. Could a star carry a form of life too vast for us to comprehend? Then comes the final mystery, the sun's true ending. Science tells us that one day, the sun will expand into a red giant, swallow Earth, and quietly fade into a white dwarf, but is that really the full story? Some theories suggest it won't die gently, but in a sudden, brilliant flash of final pulse that vaporizes everything before anyone realizes what's happened. Others believe the sun will send out one last surge of unknown energy, a wake-up call of sorts, a cosmic whisper to any remaining intelligent life, "I once lit your dreams." None of this is certain. The sun, so seemingly obvious, so present, so clear, is, in truth, one of the darkest spaces in our knowledge. A star that not only burns, but knows how to hide. A source of life that not only shines, but knows how to remain silent. And maybe, just maybe, within that silence is a message not meant for ears, but for minds willing to tremble before the strange, terrifying beauty of the universe. The end of the sun, when the final flame fades. All life has a beginning and an end. Even the sacred star that has lit our skies for billions of years is not exempt from that truth. The sun, seemingly eternal in the eyes of humankind, blazing as if it could never fade, is in fact counting down. Each day, the light we receive is not only a gift of life but a fragile slice of the time that remains. When the sun reaches the final stage of its existence, it will not begin with darkness but with light. Not silence but a deafening crescendo. Because the sun will not vanish like a candle snuffed out. It will become a final, monstrous blaze, a red giant. It will swell to hundreds of times its current size, swallowing Mercury, then Venus, and then Earth. There will be no atmosphere, no oceans, no forests, no mountains, no voices. Only a scorched planet, consumed by the very light that once nurtured it. But even that is not the end. As its core runs dry, the sun will no longer be able to support its own weight. Gravity will win. The star will collapse inward, fold into itself, like a soul that has lost its fire. And then, in the vast quiet of space, all that remains will be a white dwarf, small, dim, cooling over endless time. The skeletal remains of a once mighty sun, drifting silently through the void, breathless, dreamless. Humanity will no longer be there to witness it. But if someone or something far in the future looks up and wonders, they may see a faint glimmer in a distant sky and ask, where did that light come from? And the answer, though no one may hear it, will echo across the silence, from a star that once lived as a promise. The sun will die, but its death is not meaningless. From its ashes will come carbon, oxygen, iron, all the elements needed for a new planet, a new life, a new story. And somewhere, someday, perhaps another being will awaken under another sun, and dream. Philosophical meaning, a flame whispered from eternity. The sun is not just an astronomical body, not just a source of light, not merely one among billions of stars. It is an ancient mirror, reflecting the deepest questions humanity has ever dared to ask. Where did we come from? When did life begin? And what does light truly mean? For millions of years, humans have looked at the sun not only with their eyes but with their minds, with fear, reverence, and unspoken longing. It was the first god in every civilization. The first clock that measured time, the only flame that could light an entire world without ever needing to be lit. What makes the sun great is not what it possesses but what it gives away. It burns itself so others may live. It shines not to survive, but to bring life elsewhere. And in that act, we are no longer witnessing physics, we are witnessing a cosmic lesson in sacrifice, unconditional love, and a form of existence so noble it asks for no name. Perhaps the sun wasn't meant to be understood, but rather, to be listened to be learned from, to teach us how to be like it, to live so that others may see, to warm, without needing to be touched, to disappear yet leave behind light for 1,000 years. And then we understand, the sun does not only live in the sky, it lives in the eyes of those who cherish life, in the dreams of children seeing their first sunrise, and in every heart that knows. Sometimes, the greatest power is to shine silently. And that is the story not just of a star, but of us. Of the light we grew up with, of the death we'll never live to witness, of the sun, a silent teacher, a mother who burns herself just to keep life warm. If something in this story touched you, if you've ever looked up at the sunlight and felt your heart grow still, then leave a like to let us know that the light has reached you too. And subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the journeys ahead into a universe that is not just vast, but deeply human. There are many more stories to tell. Stars without names, mysteries yet to be unraveled. We'll see you again on the other side of the light.